small but healthy hypothesis. So I'd like to welcome Jireh.
Morning, everyone. So again, my name is Jireh Pulley, and I examined the small but healthy hypothesis in Illyrians from Albania. First, I would like to start. This is my friend Anne. I'm going to put her right here. So, there we go. To start, I would just like to look at the significance of this study. The study applies to our world because we were able to evaluate individuals of the past and see why certain individuals live shorter lives and why certain individuals live poor quality lives. And we can then use that to pinpoint current issues of the world of today, such as starvation, malnutrition, disease, and deficiency. The small but healthy hypothesis played a big part in my research. So basically, the small but healthy hypothesis tells us why certain individuals were shorter than others. So we learned that shorter statured individuals are short, but they are healthy because they are able to function with enough energy and perform day-to-day tasks with enough energy. We also learned that shorter statured individuals are short because they've had to adapt to a lack of adequate nutrient and a lack of resources. Therefore, I hypothesized that the small but healthy hypothesis is not an adequate measure of health and well-being, and I also hypothesized that we would see more stress indicators and lower longevity in shorter statured individuals. To start, stress is defined as any homeostasis, any deviation from homeostasis, and we know that homeostasis is the continuity of internal bodily conditions. And stress indicators reflect one's quality of life. Therefore, some common causes to stress indicators include disease, inadequate nutrition, and vitamin deficiency. The skeletal stress indicators that were evaluated in this study include parodic hyperostosis, cribra orbitalia, and linear enamel hypoplasia. So right here, as we see, this is parodic hyperostosis, and this is displayed by the spongy, thin appearance that we see in the skull, and also overall expansion. Next, we see cribra orbitalia, and this is displayed through the lesions in the superior orbital. So the causes of parodic hyperostosis and cribra orbitalia are often caused to inadequate nutrition. And so an absence of necessary nutrition such as iron, folic acid, vitamins A, B12, B6 are often led to why we see parodic hyperostosis and cribra orbitalia. In particular, iron deficiency is the most common cause of parodic hyperostosis and cribra orbitalia. So with iron deficiency, this is often caused by an iron-poor diet, gastrointestinal malfunction, and an overall loss of blood. And so what happens when there's iron deficiency in the body, we see iron deficiency anemia, and with iron deficiency anemia, there's a lack of oxygen transportation through the body, and so the body responds by upping red blood cell production, and with this, that usually occurs in the cranial vault, which is why we see parodic hyperostosis, that's expansion of the skull, and cribra orbitalia, the lesions in the superior orbital. So another stress indicator we look at is linear enamel hypoplasia, which is also known as LEH. So just like skeletal tissue, tooth enamel is subject to change and it can completely stop growing. And neuroblasts are enamel-producing cells, and they're very sensitive to physiological stress, in particular inadequate nutrition and disease. So during times of physiological stress, these neuroblasts will fail to produce the normal thickness of enamel matrix, which is why we see a change in dental changes. So we see the change in thickness of enamel, the appearance of pits and grooves, we see missing pieces of enamel. And one of the main indicators of LEH is these dental striations. Basically, they just look like stripes on the teeth. And LEH is linked to poor living conditions, malnutrition, disease, illness, sometimes hereditary anomalies, and overall poor health. So the subjects of this study consist of 45 individuals from the Jireh and Apollonia sites. And here's just a map showing the overall territory. Here we have Jireh, Albania. So a little background about our subjects. These individuals, like I said, are from the Jireh and Apollonia area, and these individuals are known as the Illyrians. And so when I refer to the Illyrians, I'm not just talking about one group of people. The Illyrians were composed of many different tribes, and they were all dispersed throughout many regions. But initially, the Illyrians migrated to the Balkan Peninsula and shifted to modern-day Albania. So here's just a map showing the territories of where the Illyrians were. In addition, the one common characteristics about the Illyrian culture was mound burial. So mound burial is a mortuary practice where we see individuals are actually buried in layers. So this mound is actually composed of just like a dog pile of dead bodies. So this was also a uniting common factor among the different tribes. We saw that many of the tribes engaged in mound burial. So in order to conduct this study, we learned how to do age and sex determination factors of skeletal remains, stature estimation, and data examination. So some ways that we determine age of the skeletal remains are we look at pubescence and auricular surface degeneration, dental development, and epiphyseal fusion. So this image just displays pubescence degeneration. So we look at these different stages, and they each correlate to a different age range. We also look at dental development, so infant through fully developed adult teeth. And then epiphyseal fusion, we look at in particular long bones to see the plates, the bone plates. So next we look at sex determination, and this can be determined through the pelvis and also the skull. So first, the pelvis, we look at subpubic concavity. We look at the subpubic angle and the greater sciatic notch. So in the subpubic concavity, we tend to see females have more of a concavity, and males are just more of a straight edge. Subpubic angle, females are going to have a wider angle, and males are going to be more narrow. In the greater sciatic notch, we look for the distance between the two and also the length. So in females, we tend to see an equine length. So next, for determining sex, we also look in the cranium. So we look at the brow ridge, orbital ridges and margins, the inion, nuchal crest, mental eminence, mastoid process, and the overall skull size, because we do tend to see that males have larger skull size and more protruding features. So next, we were able to determine stature through femoral length. So what we did is we took the femoral length of an individual and we plug it into the Trotter and Glester formula, and it gave us a general range of how tall an individual may have been. Next, for data examination, based off of all of the factors we already found, we divided that into different groups to notice any patterns. So we divided our data into sex, age, observed stress indicators, and stature. So based on our data, we found that shorter statured individuals displayed higher rates of carotid kyphostosis and cribra orbitalia. So this table shows us different statures. We have short, medium, and tall, and then this is the different stress indicators, carotid kyphostosis, cribra orbitalia, and LEH. And we see that shorter statured individuals display the highest rate. We also found that carotid kyphostosis was displayed most in shorter statured males and shorter statured females. Once again, we have our statures, and this is divided into male, female, and unknown. And we also found that cribrow orbitalia was displayed most in shorter statured females and medium statured males. So after looking at our data, we used the chi-square test in order to generate a concrete statistical likelihood of a certain outcome actually occurring. So the p-value is the probability and correlation of homeostasis, and as we discussed earlier, a deviation from homeostasis results in stress indicators. We also concluded that poor nutrition leads to a reduction in energy, a reduction in physical functionality, a reduction in cognitive functionality. We see stunted growth and anemia. Overall, these consequences of inadequate nutrition result in reduced longevity and lower quality lives. So with our data, what do we do next? So we concluded that adequate nutrition is very important. So one thing we can do is increase public awareness about how important it is to receive an adequate nutrition, and we aware the public about combating inadequate nutrition, vitamin deficiency, and disease. We also push for legislative action for the importance of foreign aid and helping developing countries to ensure that the people are receiving adequate nutrition. We also ensure that all socioeconomic statuses have access to an adequate nutrition. So here are my references. If anyone has any questions, you can talk to me afterwards about this. Finally, I would really like to thank the Math and Science Teaching Institute for putting FSI on. I would like to thank all of the staff, advisors, and resident assistants for just ensuring that all students could have the best possible experience, and we truly did. I'd like to thank my parents and my family for all their support through this journey. I would like to thank Excel Energy for their support. Without their support, this study would not have been possible. Finally, I would like to give a very special thanks to my mentors, Dr. McElveen and Sean Field. Thank you guys for all of your passion and patience and diligence that you put into myself and Alex. And finally, I would also like to thank my research partner, Alex. It has been an honor to work with you. Through these past weeks, you've taught me a lot. And your humor, it's been all right. But, yeah. So, and that's everything. Any questions? Yeah.